I'm Chase.
And I'm Timothy.
And this is Customer Service.
All right, boys.
Hello.
Here we go. We got a special episode because if you're a podcast listener and you didn't know that Chase was going to be out of town this week, you're out of your mind. Because he's been talking about going to this wedding for literally, I think, since 2017.
Yeah. Dang.
So I'm not really. I'm just making it's at least 1 year of me hearing about this stuff.
Whose wedding is it?
I don't know.
It's Michonne's brother, I think.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
Yeah,
That's
Michonne's
awesome.
brothers, and then they're Michonne's brother, not brothers. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like we should know by Chase talking about it for the past
Well, I
year.
think he just talked about, I'm going to a wedding. Yeah.
Let me make it abundantly clear. Chase has not talked about the wedding or what's going to happen at the wedding or who's getting married. He's exclusively talked about, does he have a suit or not for this wedding? That's extensively, and he didn't have a suit for this wedding until
Last
48
week.
hours-ish before, maybe less.
Yeah.
So maybe that's something we can talk about today too. Is like I think that we're getting into that season, like suiting season, like needing a like Maybe that's something we can talk about. But let's start here. So first of all, I don't think I need to introduce you guys at this point. You guys have been reoccurring. You're always in the room now, Cole and Alec. You've been with us a long time and definitely been in here plenty. But Alec, our marketing director, Cole, our newest employee, podcast producer. What is the name of the Joe Rogan guy?
Oh, Jamie.
Our Jamie. So they're going to join me today for this episode. For also if you're listening, I think this will be out by then, but if it's not, Chase and I will do a remote episode that will be for Patreon. So if you're a Patreon subscriber wondering where that episode is, logistically, we've been not the best, but it'll get done before the end of the month, and we're going to do one while he's away. He's just driving today, so we couldn't do this one today. So here we are. So fellas, I think you've heard the podcast before, but we'll do what we normally do. Just what's going on with you guys? Did you have anything interesting happen over the weekend? Since I'm hitting you guys out because you guys don't know the flow, I'll go first. I'll ask myself the question first, and you guys can think a second.
Yeah, what did you do this weekend?
I did not do much. I did errands. Like Abby was out of town all of last week, and we were busy. Like I was busy with Gia and stuff.
Yeah.
So I didn't get to do a lot of the normal errands and things that we need to run because it was just me. So we played catch up, and then we're doing a shoot, so they needed some set stuff, so we went and did vintage shopping. So I have a very similar routine every single weekend. If I lived my dream world, there would literally never be any other version. I would just do the same thing over and over again, which is pretty much, we get up and clean on Saturdays. We go to the coffee because we get up at once you have a kid and you have to go to school every single day, you can't not get up at 6:30. It's just when you get up.
Yeah.
So clean, coffee, art store, any groceries.
Yeah. For the
thrifting.
week.
Yeah.
Home for the rest of the day. Ideally, I get to go to a movie at night, but there's nothing in theaters right now.
Are you going to the theaters often? Oh, cool.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
I try in a dream if I'm at a normal routine, twice a week. That's my ideal.
I used to go to solo movies all the time, but I haven't been probably in a year and a half or something like that.
I've gone on long enough now that I don't want to go to the movie with anybody. People are always like, I'll go to the movies with you. I'm like, I really don't want to go with you. I'm not trying to be an asshole. I just don't want to go with somebody else. I just like to go alone to where I leave when I want to leave. I know exactly how to roll up and only hit real trailers. I know I don't really, most of the time I don't get anything to eat.
Yeah.
So I don't mess around.
You show up, you do your thing, you leave.
I get out of there. I'm just there to see a movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I listen to music loud in the car on the way there. I sit in the parking lot for a while because there's these. You guys don't maybe know this from the podcast, but there's these giant ravens that live in the parking garage of the movie theater.
Yeah.
I want to know if anyone else in Boulder that listens has ever seen these guys. They're relics.
Huge.
They don't seem real. They're huge.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah, that. It's not. It's I've got one of those little Webco ones.
Yeah.
It's that times 4. I mean, when they're walking around on the ground with their arms out, it looks like a teenager.
Yeah.
It's a big person.
Whenever I go to the theater, I will always park on the roof. and then I'll walk over using that bridge.
Oh, so I
That's
always
where I
go
like to
below.
Interesting.
Because I also like to back in when I park somewhere.
Yeah.
It's like kind of like my
This
thing.
is a big
classic Al
gripe I
move.
have in Boulder because I've never lived anywhere else where I've seen this take place.
Oh, backing in.
Here's what I love to do though: is anytime I see someone like lining it up, I pull into the spot, and I'm like, and then if they yell at me, I'm like, I didn't know. How would I know? You're backing in. That's weird.
Yeah.
So you're
Well,
that
I
dick.
won't do it. I
100%.
won't do it if I'm like gonna encumber somebody because
Yeah.
it's too embarrassing to like make a 2-3
It's a
point
production.
turn.
No question, it's a production.
Oh yeah.
Or like parallel parking on the left side of the road or something like that.
Yeah.
It's my
I
worst.
feel like I'm like
Yeah.
in Chicago. If I saw someone backing up, I'm like, someone's about to do dirt. There's no other reason to do this.
Yeah. No, there's no. I feel like in Boulder though, there is some really bad parking lots here. Like the Trader Joe's, which I know that everywhere,
Ooh.
every Trader Joe's, I think they like basically like have this, evil plan to be like, let's make the worst parking lot in the world. But like that one's terrible. The parking
Foods,
lot, Whole
notoriously.
Foods is horrible.
Surprised there's not like more fighting and stuff.
No, it's so, and people whip. I don't know.
Dude, I go in the other way and I park at the back. I don't even attempt to get close. I'm just like, I'll just walk.
So you just go on.
I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
So I park as far away from it as I can and I'll just walk.
Did you go over
That's
by
what I
like,
do as well.
I
Just
always
by
do
the-
that though.
park by
I
the
always
Panera
park
Bread.
far
super
away.
far?
Yeah.
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 I mean, because
I don't mind. No, what are we doing? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
unless it's like snowing out or something. What's
push a
the?
cart, some shit or something.
Yeah, sure.
That sucks,
There's
but-
there's situations, but for the most part, I'll just walk it.
I thought there was a strategic reason why they make their parking lot so tight. I think it's because
I mean, they do. Trader Joe's got some.
it's like a
weird shit.
demand thing or something like
Some
that. It's like, oh my god,
conspiracies.
everybody's in Trader Joe's.
Yeah, and it's like you want to like. No, I mean, but that parking lot's horrible.
You guys
mean,
like a Trader Joe's?
I
I'm
love
okay
Trader
on
Joe's.
it, dude.
I don't like that one because there's so many people there all the time. The parking lot is crazy.
You always feel like you're in the way.
Like I have to like do micro steps to get 4 things and then leave.
yeah,
but I do like it. They're vegetable bird's nests. You know,
What the hell's that?
Is it
they're
the
like
frozen one?
They're like cut vegetables and then they like pack them together into like a pancake and then they fry it in tempura batter. It's
I don't know.
It's
This sounds good.
It's
You
awesome.
just eat it?
It's awesome.
On its own?
Or do
I
you
think
put
it's.
something-
I would say it's supplementary. Yeah, you get a little sauce going and stuff like that. But yeah, that's
Okay,
the last.
wow.
Yeah, I think Trader Joe's is good. I haven't been in about 6 to 8 months because the traffic is so bad and I don't live in Boulder anymore. So
Yeah,
Oh, that's right.
yeah. Because for you, it's like, why would I do
yeah,
that to myself?
or I mean, it's either I go after work or don't go at all, or over the weekend. But I try not to come into Boulder over the weekend, just to like space out different aspects of life.
Yeah,
you know?
no, I get it. If you don't live here, I don't want to go anywhere else because I don't want to drive there. You know what I mean? Like that's the one real. We always get in this hyper localized talk, but like I everything is like 20 or 30 minutes then from Boulder. So everything in Boulder, like I'm now too spoiled because it's all nothing's 20 minutes away. You know what I mean? Like anything I'd need to do, it could max 20 minutes is the sum total. it
I
could
like
possibly
that though.
take.
I like spending time in just like your own little sector. You know, you hit your spots and then you go home.
Plus, if you're running errands, you can be done. Like if you're quick about the errands themselves, you can realistically get that done in under. You could do 5 errands in under an hour.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Because everything's like 5 minutes
You
away.
just jump around. It's
So
cool.
now it's like I love that so much that I don't want to ever give that up.
Yeah,
Because at least it still feels like a city in that way. Except for like the traffic's not the same. You know what I mean? Because normally that's like Chicago's like the same way, but like
get
with
fucked.
traffic and everything, or the train or bus or whatever, it's gonna take forever.
Yeah.
So
Oh, to be in a walkable city, you know.
I feel like I've got a little bit of both worlds, but that's also because of where I'm located in Boulder. Too.
Yeah.
Because
You're
otherwise,
like right
I guess
on
if you're on,
kind of thing.
yeah, I'm close, so it's easy to get everywhere.
Yeah.
So I don't do
Dogs
anything. Everything we could just copy and paste what I just said as that's what I do on the weekends from here on out. Like that's in my dream world, that's what I'm doing. So except for I did go to. Normally, I just go to. I didn't know there was art stores here. I thought it was just Michael's.
Where'd you go then?
Guyries.
Oh, Guyries is dope.
Have you been?
Yeah.
That's what Chase always is talking about.
Listen,
Is good?
so she's into painting and stuff too, right?
Yeah, Sophie loves it.
You
yeah.
gotta go. You gotta go as soon as possible, dude, because it is really great. It's the one that's I don't know where it's it's over there.
I'm looking.
Yeah.
There's 2. You don't want to go to the one out by where you
There's
get coffee
one
at.
right on Pearl. Yeah, you go all the way to
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great
No, that
though. They
place is
have like
awesome.
the specialty stuff. They have the expensive stuff. It's nice.
Yeah.
And it's not garbage. It's great. I was so surprised because I've been putting it off, thinking, oh, it's just this small sort of like afterthought thing, And then I went and I was like, oh my God, this is like all the good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I dropped coin
Uh-huh.
because I didn't know it was there.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got good prices. So
Yeah, I would always buy like
think about it, bro.
spray cans
It's
and
great.
stuff from there. It's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
They got a lot of
Ooh.
Were you,
cool stuff.
you out tagging?
No, not tagging. I used to like be really into like doing one pieces on a piece of wood or something like that.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, I don't do it as much anymore. Yeah,
Damn,
That's
no,
a
I
big
didn't know that.
that's a big San Francisco thing.
it's,
Huh?
it's a Bay Area thing for sure.
Anytime someone says they're in like
yeah.
graffiti, I could like you can bet there's a 70% chance that they're in the
Yeah.
graffiti.
It's either
stuff.
New York or San Francisco.
Yeah.
For that kind of
I'd
stuff.
never
Or
thought about it a
you go to
moment in my
Europe.
life until I met people here that like were from California and
Yeah.
were into it.
It's cool though.
Yeah, it was. That was my whole thing before. I came out and started climbing. So it's like spray cans, get some crink pens. Yeah,
I like the look of all of this stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
it's cool.
But like the art does not appeal to me personally, but I'm in support of it happening. I don't care.
Yeah,
I just don't like when people do like this is gonna make me sound like a piece of shit. I don't like murals.
yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
No,
I don't think they make buildings look better.
No, I think it's like it's such a trendy hipster thing. You ever go out to Rhino and there's just 20 million murals and it's like
Rhino's
okay.
crazy.
Yeah.
But like it, most of the time, I'm not saying I'm not going to put it all because like I just say most of the time the art itself is like very cartoony,
Yeah,
and then it'll just be like a sea turtle with like headphones on and stuff, and you're like, what the fuck? What's the point of this? You know,
Not to get too deep into it, but the reason I don't like the stuff in Rhino is because it has become like gentrified street art.
yeah.
You know, it's not about
Yeah.
a message or like.
Well, I think it's like it's predominantly people that are getting paid to do it, not just people like
Going
doing
in.
something.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
It doesn't feel like a local. We dapped each other up. You're going to do the side of my building. I'll allow it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the most of it. That's the most agreement you're going to get.
Yeah. It used to be more free back in the day. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
can see that.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. What about you guys? You anything thrilling?
Too cool. Yeah.
What did I do this weekend?
We had Kate's party.
Yeah, we had Kate's
that's right,
surprise
I forgot.
party. That was fun at Bob and Pages.
Yeah.
At Japango Sushi.
Unfortunately, our sweet Kate is leaving us
Oh.
Yeah.
to go to LA, California.
Yeah.
Real bummer. But the thing, at the same time, what is she, 22 or something?
Yeah.
She's in her early 20s. You got to do it.
time to do
You
it.
got to
Yeah.
do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
no matter what you think, no matter what you got to do something. You got to go away for a minute. I think it's just a necessary evil.
How cool I think it is to be able to turn a new page and,
Oh yeah.
leave some
yeah,
people behind, but they're always going to be around, sort of thing. It's I think that is like a really good thing for growth. So,
Well,
Kate,
it's
if you're
also
listening.
like where she's from is cool. You know what I mean? Or there's cool aspects to it where I think that like, not that like there isn't cool things about where I'm from. There's its own cool things. It's just different. It's very different. You know what I mean? There's not like as much like opportunity if you're like a predominantly creative person or want to be in like a field like she wants to be in art or I wanted to be in fashion. There's just that's not there. But for every other reason I should want to live there based well, the weather's not great, but I could buy homes and stuff no problem. You know what I mean? Where it's like the cost of living is so much lower.
Yeah.
But I think if you want the types of things like she wants, you got to go find like community in like a bigger city for a little bit.
Oh,
and then
absolutely.
Figure out what you're doing from there. So
And for those who don't know, Kate is, whenever she is on Favorite Fits, she wins with a bullet every single time.
I was gonna
She's
say,
got the greatest
they know
fits.
Kate.
Yeah.
No, they.
Kate is a fan favorite from the YouTube. She's been on the podcast one or two times, I think, at one of the Rowdy casts. So if you haven't listened to those, also if you haven't listened to those, there's another good reason because she's on them and that's fun, and everyone's on them. And those are both Patreon, or at least one's Patreon. So
I
if
think
you like
one
those,
is and
those
one's
are
regular.
going up to Patreon. So it'll be a bummer.
Yeah.
It's hard working with like people in their early 20s and stuff when they start with us, because you're like, in some cases they've started with us and then have made full careers out of this, and that's awesome. And I wish everyone that we hired, we're pretty careful about who we hire, I think, overall. And I've never not been like I've always wanted everybody to work out and be here forever. But I also think that the thing that we do here is like you sort of foster a level of autonomy and learning and stuff that like I hope that if you do go on to do other stuff, it's great.
You're set up.
You know what I
for
mean?
it.
Yeah, you're set up. So, you've got us as a community now. So she'll be fine. She's a great kid.
Smart,
she's
bubbly,
super
funny.
Smart,
Great listener.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's got to go get
great.
the shit
I'm gonna
kicked out
miss
of her
very,
because it's
very much.
that's life. You know what I mean? But that's the time you
got,
do it.
You got to
but-
go through it. You know,
Yeah.
it's like trial by fire. You know, it's just
100%.
growing up.
Yeah.
Well, that's how it seems. I'm only 20.
So we had a party for her, and it was nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like it was fun and a bummer,
No, totally.
as parties often are, regardless.
Yeah,
So-
no,
Yeah.
that is true.
So that was part one on Saturday. Cole, what'd you get up to on Sunday?
Sunday, what did I do? Sunday, just we went to Lucille's, walked around Pearl. It's really nice right now in Boulder and in Colorado. The front
Yeah,
range.
weather.
yeah.
So everyone's out. What else we did? My sister had a baby on Sunday night. So
Shout
Monday,
out.
yeah, crazy. So I'll be leaving here on Wednesday night, driving through the night to Kansas City, which is gonna be crazy.
Oh, you drive?
Oh yeah,
How
because
long
we
is
gotta
that?
we gotta take Louis.
Oh,
It's with stops. I bet it's gonna be like 9 hours. And I don't know if anyone's done this that's listening.
I've done a
but
lot of long drives.
That
so I-
Kansas City stretch from like once you
dude.
go from like Limon to like Hayes even or like even like Lawrence, it's horrible. It's like so ass.
nothing.
Wow.
Yeah.
No,
Wow.
it's and then they have like at night they have the lights on all the wind fucking turbine.
Yeah.
Wind
Oh
things.
yeah.
And they glow and it looks like an alien. Like
Yeah.
everything's that red and it goes in waves. It's kind of trippy as fuck.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's gonna be. Soph and I will be going through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have never driven out east like that.
It's
Is it?
I mean, you're not missing much,
Yeah.
man. I mean, like, there's a lot of, you don't realize how much dead zone there is in places,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and how big things are
Yeah.
until you start
Yeah.
doing it, and then you're like, oh my god,
it's crazy.
like
you guys-
anyone who's ever driven through Ohio, they know the true nightmare.
yeah.
No
Yeah.
lights, no nothing, just
Yeah.
Is
dead,
it flat? Kind of.
dead, flat, nothing
Yeah.
to look
Dead
at. It's just like in your best case scenario, you've got farm on each side, and it's like soybean or corn, so it's
Yeah.
nothing to even look at, and
Yeah.
it's flat, so it's kind of as far as your eyes can see, just sort of nothing.
Yeah. That's kind of how like Central California is. If you ever drive from San Francisco to LA, it's like
Yeah, I've never done
just a
that.
straight road and it's nothing but farmland. They're like, there's cows, there's, they're growing almonds and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But have you guys ever seen like a topographical map of the U.S.? It's like on the east, it's flat, like
Yeah.
crazy,
So
and
you
then
hit
you
the-
hit the Front Range, and then you see
Yeah.
all these mountain ranges and stuff like that, and it's probably why a lot of people live on the West Coast.
I mean, I think you being from where like Chase and I are from, you never really even think about it. I don't know how to explain. It's just like I'd never even thought about mountains or anything. I didn't know why or anybody that lived in them or went to them for any reason. So, like when I took the job, I didn't know where Boulder was on a map. I'm not sure I could have impressively outlined where Colorado was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I just never thought about it really.
Did you visit Colorado before you moved out here?
One time, but I'd already agreed to do the job.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
That's awesome.
The only thing I wanted to do was see what Boulder was like.
Yeah.
Mostly just because, at that point, really, when Bob and I started it, we were just going to do a store, and
Yeah.
we were going to make it super easy. Like the agreement he and I had, like in initially talking was like, let's just do a store. Let's make it super casual. We'll make it profitable. I knew what to do. I knew the brands I wanted to carry. He knew what he wanted it to look like and stuff. And I'm like, I think we're on the same team. Like this should be like. Not hard. It'll be a couple years of setup, make sure we get it running smoothly. But once we have it, it'll be autopilot, man.
Yeah.
And then we brought in, without going too deep in, we brought in another partner, and it started getting like bigger fast. I mean, because their experience was in logistics and much bigger stuff from Bob's previous business. And we just were, and we talked a little bit about like, okay, well, if we're doing online, what it would look like then. And then it started being like, okay, so Bob and I knew each other well. We knew each other from my old store, and I saw him quite a bit over the course of, 3 or 4 years, I would say. So at least a couple times a year, he'd be around for like a week. You know what I mean? And he would come in and chit chat like once an evening almost. You know what I mean? So we would talk, and so I knew we were very aligned. But then I wasn't sure like what he'd wanted. If it was online, suddenly it was a different business in my mind, and I was like, all right. So we met at this hotel that was near where I worked, and I brought a bunch of brands, and I was like, I don't know, because you got to remember, this was a very different time in fashion. Like, it was predominantly still, like, not made in U.S. Like, certainly the made in Japan, I think it started, but it was light. It was only a couple brands that people were even considering.
Yeah.
And men's fashion wasn't what it is now. No, there was no streetwear blow up yet. There was no sneaker blow up. There was no nothing. There was no COVID. It was just sort of like this aftermath. I think it's kind of where we're at now, where you're it's trying to figure out what it's doing. So we had a bunch of like the brands that I'd worked with previously, which were more towards the heritage thing, but you know, open to Japanese world a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where we were at. And I thought, that'll be a great story. I think that, you know, Colorado will get it. I visited here one time and we saw Boulder, and we also remember when I visited too, we met up at Bob's crib in Ware Park. So I don't think that's like a good.
It wasn't a good representation of where you guys
yeah.
were gonna set up shop.
So then we came to Boulder, and I'm like, no. There's good coffee, good restaurants. Like if people get that, they'll get what we do if we explain it. I had some faith there, and so it was this one thing that was sort of appealing to that. And then once we did online, I was like, I'm bringing a bunch of brands that at the time, I mean, these aren't going to sound that crazy now, but like some of the brands we had started with, I was like, I don't know if people are going to, I mean, this was like Non-Amiga back when nobody knew what that was. You know what I mean? No one knew that it had anything to do with anything else, or it was not, I didn't know anybody that carried it at the time. And I thought these are going to be some maybe bolder statements. I'd like had Le Maire on the list early on, and I was like, that's definitely going to be a big. And at the time, they were still around, but didn't have the cult following it has now. They were growing their personal brand certainly, but it hadn't like become a bigger thing than that.
They were still earning.
And I was like,
stripes.
I don't know if anyone's going to get what I'm saying when I say I want to do Le Maire, but to me, it always looked like Japanese clothes at the same time. And I think, like, in retrospect, you can look at it and say, but that was like a hard pitch in the moment. And there was a bunch of brands like that were sort of in that like early phase. Our Legacy was still in that kind of early phase of like figuring out. It was almost more on the streetwear tip, or it kind of almost looked like, to me, it looked a little like a cooler APC or something at the time. And I was like, I don't know if anybody in the room is going to get this, but Bob really resonated. I was like, love where your head's at with this. And it's like, so the online thing kind of happened fast after that and sort of changed what the business was going to be as a total, because we were kind of thinking it would be this like easy, small thing. And then it became not that very quickly, which is good. That's what I mean. I wanted that, so it's great.
I mean,
but
Le Maire back then and like a lot of Japanese clothing, that feels like a bigger bet to have made back in the day, because people did not have this cult love for Japanese clothing.
No, I mean, menswear as a whole just wasn't there yet. And it didn't, and like the only place it really had to go was maybe Style Forum, you know, kinda.
Yeah.
But there was, everything was sort of in the middle.
More niche than it was.
You know what I mean? It was way more
than it
niche.
is,
Just to be into menswear on the whole was still a big deal. Really, that's like, you know, we've had this discussion many times. We don't need to go down this road, but that whole thing that happened with Virgil and streetwear and sneakers and all this stuff was a huge catalyst towards younger people, especially guys, being interested in clothes for the first time. And I think overall, people like putting personal style above all that other stuff, and then that became its own brand, like personal style did, you know. So it was just at a unique place. We were kind of at a bridge where I kind of feel like we're back on a bridge, and we'll be back on a bridge in another 4 years. Just how this goes. But like, it's like, you're like, oh, I don't know what it's really going to be right now. I don't think anyone knows. Like, there's not an obvious, like, no sneakers anymore. No loafers. No fucking, like, it's not just about being into like niche stuff any longer. I don't know where it's at right now. I think it's like, it's not lost. I mean, it'll find itself. It's just sort of like,
totally.
It doesn't have, like, the closest thing I think you could nab onto right now is like normcore stuff kind of still being popular, or like, you know, just wearing clothes. You know what I mean? I think that's still a thing, but it's definitely, it's different than it used to be, for sure. I mean, at that time, that wasn't like, they were bigger swings, and they were basically swings that only like bigger businesses were really taking. Smaller businesses weren't. So we knew it was going to be a little bit of a reach, or I felt like it was a big reach, but luckily, you know, people were on board. I've always been worried that people wouldn't get the model of eclecticism I was trying to put forward. When I was a kid, this is where it comes from. It's so stupid, but I was really into Frasier, the show Frasier. My mom liked it, and I watched it. And I liked older people stuff because I wanted to be like older. You know what I mean? Or I wanted to be smarter because I felt like I was behind everyone else in the world. So that was my avenue, which is so silly, but you know, he was a cultured person on the show, so I thought it was interesting. Or I wanted to get what they were like, because you know, people like, it's hoity-toities and shit. I wanted to get it though. And he has an apartment in the show that's very famous. This isn't going to resonate with no listeners, because I'm sure I'm the oldest one. But he had this apartment that was like, and they would be like, oh, it's a bunch of strange art all mixed together. And he'd be like, you have to believe in eclecticism. I don't remember what episode he talks about that, but he was very pro, like, you have to believe in eclecticism, meaning if you have a bunch of nice things all together, it goes together. And I was like, well, that's how I've always looked at clothing. Like, I liked Ralph Lauren, but I like Le Maire, and I like Capital, and I like all these different things. And that's all if you get it, it all goes together in
Yeah,
my mind.
yeah, yeah,
Even
yeah.
though it doesn't, it just, but it does.
Yeah.
It does. on the same-
So I want when we were doing this, I really that's like what I wanted the buy to be like. Of like, I don't want anyone to know understand what we're doing fully. You know what I mean? I want you to come to it because you understand a piece of it, and then you'll stay
And then
because you keep learning about new things.
You know, you peel back the curtain and it's like there's all this other stuff. I mean, that's kind of how I got into clothes. My parents have always been into brands and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I discovered Canoe Club, and then there's Capital, and there's a bunch of this, you know, stuff that is more young leaning. And I was like, okay, this is a space that I understand and can also resonate with in a better way. You know, that was like my first brand, first piece of clothing that I bought from us was a Capital piece, and I knew nothing about it. I was like, oh, it just looks cool.
I didn't know that.
It was a striped long sleeve shirt,
Oh, I
and
know,
it had,
yeah. I
you
had
know,
that
the
one too.
smiley face on the elbows, and
yeah, like the okay.
I was like, okay, so this is like
Interesting.
something that is pretty nice, and I can wear it to like a nicer place, but it's also got a little bit of flair to it, and since then it
sort of unusual in a cool way.
yeah. Since my style has evolved into, you know, cleaner capsule stuff, but I still have a huge love for, you know, all that fun graffiti-esque stuff.
Yeah. I mean, and that's sort of like what I always felt when we got the Discord going. As what I always felt proud about is like, oh, good, like it makes the Discord make sense to me when you do the outfit thing. Because like, look how many different types of people there are there. Not just different types of people, but like the way they're wearing clothes and thinking about clothes is all completely different. But they all fuck with each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's like, it always, like, for example, like I've said it before on here, but like I feel like most of my style inspiration comes from women's wear and girls on Instagram doing outfit stuff, because I think that girls are more brave with styling.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So I'm more interested in it because they'll push it without pushing it. You know what I mean? And I think that's the coolest thing. So I feel like that's where I see most of it. So it has nothing to do with what I'm buying or where I'm buying clothes or whatever. It's just a matter of like where you're getting the information that gets you like excited about something. It doesn't, you know what I mean? And like, so I'm excited that we've created a space where that can happen. But really, that was like the goal when we started. Is like I just didn't want it to be like they're this store. You know what I mean? Because that's boring.
Yeah.
And I think that
And
like
it corners you into,
yeah, 100%.
you know. Yeah.
I mean, look, you can come in and be like, I don't need to call out brands, but let's think of something a little bit more common and be like, that's where I came in at it at. But now because I've been around other things or I've tried other things on or just seen the things that I know and understand next to other stuff, you start to level up or switch your style. And because that's the other thing. I also think that like, I don't know how you guys feel. Like, how do you guys feel as young? Chase and I bicker about, not bicker, but we're both like finicky. And I think everyone is about like personal style, where it's like, I'll box myself in and then I don't like it. And then I'll try something new. And then I want to, and then, or sometimes like, I think like even a year back, like I don't feel like the same person exactly. My interests have changed. My personality's changed a little bit, or I've matured or dematured. I don't, you know, it's tough to like pin it down. How do you guys feel about like your personal style? Do you think it's like, do you feel like you just, Cole, I think you've got like a very specific thing since I've met you that feels very much you, but do you have a way of defining it, or do you just like, I think Alec the same way. Like I've seen your, I've known you longer, so I've seen it evolve a bit more, especially from at a crucial point in your life, being much like, you know, just out of college to now, it's like a different thing.
Yeah, I mean, Chase and I talk about this regularly. I have an entire closet of stuff that I barely wear. You know, Kate's seen the closet.
There's just like
There's
past
just
lives
like
stuff.
past life. There's so much like crazy graffiti, capital, loud stuff that I just don't wear anymore. I really got to clean out my closet because I have just molded into what I find uber comfortable, and a lot of it is just muted colors.
So
you know?
this is an interesting thing you're touching on, because I think about this quite a bit personally, because I think, and I'm older, obviously, I think that sometimes there's this part of me that like feels the same way as you. Like I think when I was younger, because I was in like bands and stuff, and I wanted to have this very like specific era of like rock look that I thought was like, well, this is kind of classic, and you could kind of blend in more fashiony things into like more of a grungy type of look. You know what I mean? And that I wanted to make sense, which is, you know, predominantly like fucking old jeans and Converse and stuff I still work into like what I'm doing now. But at the same time, like I feel like I've been drawn away from that, and I go much more like, you know, I love very pretty, elegant brands. Like that's what I'm most attracted to.
Yeah.
At the same time, my inner, let's say inner child, even though it's more of like a teenager, but like is that other stuff. So I'm very much drawn to like, I can't help not being drawn to like ratty jeans and old flannels and stuff. But it's like also a thing that I feel like I want to move away from. But then every time I move away from it, I'm like, I miss it so much.
Yeah.
Like, that's who I am. So it's a weird thing to balance sort of like those two people, if that makes sense, which I think are both around.
They're both
and
true.
present.
They're both true to yourself kind of thing. But, you know, there's, you know, I would much prefer to just walk into work with a colored shirt. You know what I mean? As opposed to,
Do you feel like you have a work self and a home self?
Yeah.
Style wise?
I
Do
would
you feel
say.
like you have that?
Yeah.
Cool. I feel like you're more locked in, dude. I mean it, and I mean it as like a compliment. You have like a very specific aesthetic to me that I think is like feels like you.
Yeah.
And I believe if you were to say no, I do the same shit all the time, I'd be like, I believe it.
I mean, I know like Chase has that insane take where it's like he wears his jeans on. When I'm at home, I'll wear the same shit I'm wearing at work, or if I like go out to, you know, Target or Costco, whatever, like I'll wear that same stuff. But I definitely like if I'm getting comfortable, I'm gonna get in some sweats or some stretchy pants and like, you know, a baggy ass t-shirt, you know, and that's like my chill out, or a robe. I used to be a robe wearer exclusively.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
for
And
you.
I have
Cool.
a huge collection of robes. It's bad.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
I have a velour one. I have lightweight ones for, you know, like summer and spring.
Yeah,
and then I
yeah,
have
yeah.
some like, you know, like the waffle knit, love a good
Sure.
waffle knit, you know, towel, some Terry shit. But I don't know. I mean, I to me, it's funny hearing you, you know, you say that because it's like, I think being here, I have so much more access to like silhouettes that I love that I think I missed in my life. You know, like growing up, like I think I just always liked being different. Like I remember everyone was wearing Nikes and I was like, I don't want to wear those. Like I want to wear Pumas. I always felt like I wanted to be like, maybe similar to you, like Tim, you know, like you being like, oh, I want to be this angsty kind of like guy. Like I always wanted to be what no one else was wearing. You know, and it was a lot of Vans, and I think when I started skating, that was something I really loved. And I think skaters have some of the best fashion, just like kind of like effortlessly, you know, just like, it's so basic, but so cool. So when I started becoming that, I think it kind of got me more into like that kind of level. And then I think just wanting to be like complimented by girls was like a huge thing for me, like, you know, in middle school and like Justin Bieber was huge at that time. And it was like seeing kind of what he wore and like that kind of silhouette and like seeing kind of like my favorite musicians and being like, okay, I want to be like that way. But I mean, in school, I wore like in high school polos and, you know, like jeans. I always kind of dressed up a little more, but I wore a lot of like loud colors.
Okay.
I was a really crazy color guy.
Yeah.
And now I think it's like I'm muting down more. I think like seeing stuff, like going more for natural fibers, like really finding pants and shirts and like silhouettes that fit my body really well. Where I think I was like had my skinny era. Obviously I gained a lot of weight from being in my early 20s. So I think like now, you know, like I'm finding that. And I think Japan was a huge eye opener to be like that city boy kind of like oversized baggy, but it's like all like basic American kind of styles, but like in a cool, you know, like form factor. And that really resonated with me. So I think like me now I have this, like, I feel really good in the past 2 years where I'm like, damn. And then working here, it's just made it. It's like fucking throwing gas in the fire. Like I feel, it's bad, but no, but thank you for saying that, Timbo. I feel
No, I mean, I feel like it's tough. That's the tough thing to do is sort of like lock into like not just wearing. Anyone can wear clothes. I mean, you just need money. You know what I mean? And then you can wear clothes. You know, anyone can buy something in their size, and you know,
and you don't need
Put
that
it
much
on
either.
and-
it's not even that
Yeah.
hard. You
Yeah,
just look up like cool menswear store, and then you go there and go, all right, I got X amount of money to throw down. Give me the clothes. You know what I mean? And then you can do it. I mean, that's that easy.
Oh yeah.
And I think that there's plenty of people that like don't want to think about their personal style all the time, and that's great. I get that, and you can go do that and support a local business, and you know, buy cool stuff, and it's no problem. You can wear clothes, but that's the like tricky part of like how do you go from like wearing the clothes to like having personal style? And you know, we've talked about this at length, but it that's the tough part to me, and it's like trying to lock into not only like, do the clothes represent who I am? You know what I mean? Like, does it say something about me, or does it just, you know, what are you trying to have it say about you? I guess is more what I'm trying to think. You know what I mean? Where, like, I think it gets to the point where when someone can sort of knows you and they could go, I can kind of close my eyes and picture what you'd be wearing. You know what I mean? And then you're usually pretty close to those things. That's probably it. So there's probably some repetition involved that would have to happen so that like you've got your thing locked in. But I think it's whenever you can get to a spot where you're like no longer thinking at all about this is the clothes I like, this is stuff I'm naturally drawn to, and this is stuff I wear. But I still feel like, and probably because we think about it all the time because of what we do, but that's like I've not quite got the balance. I've not quite figured it out still, at the same time. Like I know what I like, but I don't know if lining that up with like my personal values or what I think I want my clothes to say about me are those two things lined up? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I sometimes think I've only ever worked in fashion. So I'm like, what would I dress like? I think Chase and I've talked about that before, but like, what would it look like if I didn't work in fashion? What would I do then?
Yeah.
Because I wonder if that's technically a little bit more true because you're not working around clothes all the time.
Yeah.
And so maybe they're not at like, I don't think about them at home and here. I don't know.
I know exactly what it would be for me. It would be skinny, tight clothing because
Because you just think you wouldn't have been
if I was not into
exposed to other stuff?
I wouldn't have been exposed to it. It would probably be like, skinny Lulu pants, something like
ABC
that.
ones or something.
Yeah, and like a super tight collared shirt or something like that because I always thought that I'd be working corporate, to be honest.
Yeah.
My dad was in corporate. It was just like a lot of like basic form-fitting things that just
like whatever's
suit you.
most widely accepted at the
But
time.
now I'm more into like comfort. Like I'll wear a baggy pant because I want to be able to stretch out my legs and stuff like that.
Yeah, and get it.
It's probably why I don't like open-toed shoes. To be honest,
Interesting.
Because it's like not
it's like
enough for you, or is
it's
it?
maybe it's not a comfort thing, but I just figured that like I always say like I want to be able to run in the shoes, but I'm also like
You want to be able to work a corporate job at the drop of a hat.
I can do both at the flip of a button. I have 3 suits in my room, and I never put them on, but I have them just in case.
Yeah.
You ever have a moment where you need to dress a little bit more well understood, I guess. To that sector of the world.
What you're describing is kind of where I end up being, where I have these couple different like pockets I like to live in, or at least like know I could, or they've been like past phases or whatever they are. So I always keep like certain things from each one of these phases, and I think that like when you stop being worried about like, do I have everything covered? And you start to just be like, now it's just a one-way path of like, I buy the clothes I like, I wear the clothes all the time, and then I get rid of the clothes. You know what I mean? It's just a one-way, like, very quick street. I think that's the, like, ideal. But I'm still in your camp of, like, I have a couple different, like, suits that could be any given thing. I have, like, if I suddenly had to work a more, like, high-end job tomorrow, and not that what we do is not high-end, but I mean, like, let's say I had to work a sales floor at Louis Vuitton. I got the clothes for it. I can do it.
Yeah.
And I can shift those gears.
It's the versatility of it.
Yeah.
And that kind of takes us away from having a capsule wardrobe and stuff like that. Like,
See, I've been trying to get away from that though.
Oh, really?
I've been trying to throw that. I've been trying to like pigeonhole myself into this of like not having very many options and getting rid of things that I like to just have. And, mostly just exclusively. So I'm out of my comfort zone entirely.
And that's the two arguing points because I'm always like, damn, I really wish I had like a very oversized black denim jacket or something like that, and I just don't have it because, I feel like most of the time I'll just buy like tighter fitting things for some reason. I just like end up leaning that way, but my brain tells me 2 different things, I guess.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at.
Well, and I feel like the thing with you, Al, is I don't know if the people know that are listening that know Al that well, but you're a very strong man.
Oh, thank
you. Like you have, Al has, I mean, he's a climber, but it's like if I were super skinny shit, it would be bad.
Yeah.
When I was like,
oh, I see. Okay.
When I was like 70
yeah,
pounds lighter, like I would have, but like for you, it's like, I think of my friends that are like gym rats, not to say that you're like, I know, you work out a lot, but like the gym rats that I know, it's like they all wear skinny ass shit and they wear the joggers. And and to them, it's like they want to show off that physique. It's like that, macho, whatever it is, macho kind of man shit. So, and I think that's why so many people go to it. And also just like, if you go to like a Viore or any of these like athletic places, that's like the silhouette you get, like Lululemon.
You
know,
and I would also go to submit that those are like very accessible brands.
Oh
you
my
know,
God,
and it's
yeah.
like,
Sure.
you know, you go to those stores, that's the silhouette you get, that's the silhouette you run with.
Yeah.
You know, because that's like what you know.
Exactly.
You know, I want
yeah.
the Vori, I want the Lululemon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's so many brands that dupe that too. That are like, you know, maybe like a, I don't know, like a Reebok or some shit. Like, I don't know what Reebok is right now, but they kind of do the same shit, you know?
Yeah. And
I mean, exposure is definitely a big part of that, though. Like what you're exposed to, you know, based on your interest level in any one thing. You know what I mean? Because I think there's people that like are interested in clothes and fashion and style, but just haven't been exposed to anything except for like one version of that thing. And so that's how they dress, because that's the coolest thing that they know. You know what I mean? And they're maybe the most stylish person in their group of people, but like, you know,
but
what's
it's a different story more broadly. Yeah. And I guess this is all to say that you're probably right, is like fashion doesn't really know what it's going to be in the next couple of years. You know, there's just so much in the mix that it can really just, you know, fall to whatever influencer is pushing this the best and the most.
Well, and it's like I don't think that like maturity in style or fashion or whatever needs to always look like, well, I only wear classics, so you can't argue with them. You know what I mean? But at the same time, because I kind of get it at a certain point, if you're just trying to be like, how many more things am I going to accumulate? You know, like I just want to have like the classics so that I can, you know, never have to worry about what's in or out. And you even think of like, if I think of like what I wore 5 years ago, like I wouldn't wear that now necessarily. There's things, of course, and there's things I still have, but there's also like fits of things that have changed so massively. Like I wouldn't wear them that way any longer. And like, so it's going to like ebb and flow. So I think you just have to be like cool with that. Because that's what it's going to do regardless of if you're cool with it or not. And, but I don't know. I do feel like at the same time, I kind of want to like not pay attention. Like I'm interested in like what it would be like if I stopped paying attention entirely. And then just what naturally
like this is what
out.
Would happen.
Like what's left if I'm not paying attention? You know, because sometimes a lot of people I meet that have like really, really great personal style are not necessarily people that are following fashion super closely. You know, like no question, Strabo follows fashion to a certain degree, but like, man's doing another thing. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't wear any of that stuff, and then every time he puts it together, I'm like,
it's like, oh, that's
good.
cool.
You know what I mean?
That's cool.
It feels like a more
it's true to him, and that's what makes it cool. For sure.
100%.
And that's the thing I don't know how to like.
How to, you know, play that middle.
I think it's easier when you're younger, but you have no money. You know what I mean? So you don't have as much ability to play around. So, and if you're doing it, it's mostly off of vintage. But at least it's more of a pipeline of like, this is how I want to express myself specifically. And then as you get older, it's more like, I know, but I really like these brands. And then so it kind of becomes like someone else's vision to a certain degree. Now I feel like I'm one click over. I'm on the third step now of like, how do I blend both of those things? And I don't exactly know yet. You know what I mean? And
that's so interesting.
I don't know.
I have like this giant 6-drawer dresser from IKEA, and 2 out of 6 of those drawers are filled with skinny jeans that will never see the light of day ever again.
What are you doing with them?
I don't know. I actually talk about this every single time I show somebody my closet, because there are so many people that are like, why don't you wear this? Why don't you wear that? And I just don't like it anymore, and I need to get rid of it or sell it
or something.
But it's like I'm also sentimental. In that way, I'm like kind of a pack rat. I'm clean. I'm pretty organized, but I got a bunch of shit that I do not wear. Yeah, for sure.
I do the same thing.
You keep it all.
Yeah, it's not Chris level bad, but it's bad.
Well, he's a tough man to compete with.
I got these Levi's made and crafted selvage jeans because my mom used to work at Levi's, and they're super skinny and they're beautiful pants. I just don't wear them.
I know exactly the one. It's a ruler fit, I think is what it's called. And it was you couldn't keep that on shelves at one point. But I mean that would be a slim fit to wear. You'd be making a statement by wearing those at this point. You know what I mean? Or you just don't pay attention at all, and then you know. So it's like, I mean, the reality is they'll probably come back. You know, I don't think look, everyone's thinking about flared jeans because Kendrick Lamar wore them. You know what I mean? And it's like, I think we all would have been like, no one's doing that, right? And then somebody does it, and you're like,
it's like, okay, maybe they can do it, and they're cool. They have a status in life. Maybe I can be that person.
Well, and then, inevitably designers go, okay, well, there's a new demand. No one's making those anymore.
Yeah.
Not everyone wants to buy them vintage. So we make them, and then, one influential place makes them, and then that trickles back down. And, it starts over again.
Yeah.
So it is, I don't, you never know.
Yeah.
But you probably could still get rid of them and buy new ones.
I feel like someone would totally buy those too.
Yeah. No, and
Probably,
they would, that they suit a person for sure, and that's kind of what's cool about personal style. I have a question for you guys.
What is it?
Oh my gosh, I just forgot. Never mind. Skip me.
Well, to piggyback, because I think like right now, obviously wider pants are kind of like the thing, right? That's like the trendy. I think it's more than a trend. I think it's something I should stay because I like it, fits my body.
Yeah.
But I know so many people that wear still skinny jeans, and even like from my perspective of seeing what's going out the door, people still love the 107 silhouette.
Yeah.
Like that still sells.
It was my first jean I bought. Yeah.
I think you're also like the correct version of this is like if you want to like never be out of style is to just always live in between things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So don't go too skinny because the 107 is just like a 505. It's tapered. You know what I mean? It's not skinny.
It's not like
It's not a low rise.
2013 like
Exactly. And then like the 105 is just a 501. 501s are never not popular. They're not wide, but they're not. They're somewhere in the middle.
they're like straight.
I mean, I would even argue that like the 101 or 100 or whatever from Morris Low isn't necessarily like what the younger kids are wearing.
Like a barrel jean or something like that.
They're just wider. They're based on old models and, so it touches on. If you stay like in between or just stay with brands that are a little bit more tasteful, they're never going to go extreme one way or the other. So if you kind of stay in that world, you're always good. But yeah, it's also very tempting to not, I think we've all played with the volume of pants at this point, one way or the other.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, my question was, and this is kind of off topic,
that's okay. Let's take us off. Take us in a new.
This is the podcast.
Is fashion to you guys like a metaphor for life and its constant flux and changes? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the reality is it's art. So if you're appreciating it the right way, the reality is we're supporting artists, and people take that however they want to. But that's my opinion of it. That like it's people making things.
Yeah.
A lot of the brands that we carry, it's a pretty 1-to-1. These aren't huge businesses. Some are bigger than others, certainly, but they're not huge.
Yeah.
And so you're talking about somebody with a pulse on what's happening that we deem as like someone who's got the closest 1-to-1 thing between their brain, what's going on in the world, and what they make. And so you're always seeing sort of somebody that you respect sort of like portrayal of those things back to you. Just like anybody who's making a piece of art is the point is like I'm trying to convey something that's my personal experience, in this world that we all share.
Ready to be seen by other people.
Yeah, so I think that it always is going to be a reflection of like current times and what's going on, and and it's so influenced because you can go through your life without ever buying a painting. You know what I mean? It's not a need thing. It's nothing. It's not important as like low Maslow's hierarchy. It's not going to be on that chart. Whereas like fashion is on there, like certain degrees of it. You need to wear clothes.
Personal style,
you have to sort of participate in some way, shape, or form. And because we see pop culture, affected by those things, because people are in clothes and those things, and they want those to be a reflection of current times in some way.
Yeah.
You see it so I think you're like, no matter what you're influenced by it, no matter how far away from it that you are, you'll eventually be touched by these things that are happening.
Yeah.
So I mean, without going, overboard, it's sort of like it is. I mean, it's somebody's personal perspective being shared with others that we all adopt and then switch, and then somebody else's turn is. You know what I mean? So I mean, it kind of is.
Fashion can exist on the highest end of Maslow's. Can also exist on the lowest end. Like what is the highest end being like personal identity or something like that. But it can also exist as like, I need to wear clothes outside so I don't I don't freeze to death or lose my job or whatever. Detained. Yeah, exactly. Because it's like kind of a law. Like
a public park.
Same way I got to eat every day.
Well, and I think that like. most of those designers are taking inspiration from literally all of those avenues. You know what I mean? And all those experiences and stuff, and then putting it into what they do. You know, in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So I don't. So yes, the answer I think is it has to be. You know what I mean? This, you know, I think that fashion I've always liked because it's like art that you have to interact with in some way, shape, or form. It's not really like a matter of like I choose. Like I could not watch a movie. It's that easy. Don't sign up for subscriptions. Don't turn on the TV. Don't go to the movies. You know, don't need to interact with it at all. It's not going to affect you one way or the other. Keep moving. You know, but you can't just choose. I mean, I guess you could choose to not wear clothes, but you're going to limit your life experience pretty quickly. When I'd argue that even like as you get more successful in your job, or like maybe if you live in a city, you start needing like, well, if I go to these places, I got to dress a certain way because you're just trying to fit into some way, shape, or form. So you kind of like you're forced to interact with it, in whatever way you do.
You have to fit into a certain thing that you're doing in your life, kind of thing. Whether it be,
whatever,
not getting arrested for public indecency or doing something else.
All the way to
tucking your
I don't
shirt,
want to look bad at this restaurant I have to go to, with friends. Like, I'm going to look off or like out of place. If you know what I mean? So like that's like its own thing, and you can decide that's a nightmare, and it can be. But I think in the other way, it's like that's sort of the fun of it as well. And I think that it's like a nice thing that like I think everyone can also like my grandpa appreciated nice clothes. My dad appreciates nice clothes. Like you don't have to be from a certain generation or a certain profession or whatever to like appreciate something being like a higher quality or the way it feels or the way it looks on you or whatever. Like it's like I said, it's art you have to interact with even if you're not interested in art or creativity. So I think it's cool in that way. It's like it's an equalizer.
Yeah, for sure.
No, I think I also think kind of going to what you guys were saying about like the city, being in a city and wanting to fit in. I feel like that's such a big point of fashion and like style is that fit in, whether it's like you're a city slicker and you never wear a long coat or an overcoat and you're like, fuck, I need to get one of these to be the part. Or it's like you need to wear, a Carhartt Detroit jacket because you want to be a blue collar guy and you drive a truck and it's like, that's the aesthetic you want, right? Or you're wearing, I don't know, Juggalo ICP shit. You want to be a Juggalo, whatever it is.
You're doing something to be a part of a...
And I think of like high school where it's like, that's such a time where you're trying to figure yourself out. And it's like, it's easy to kind of play that uniform that you see, right? And it's like, I think in like our generation, it was like Nike Elite socks and Hiroshes and like, I'm thinking of all the different shoes and, lots of Lululemon and Rhone and shit. And
Nike Elites for sure.
Yeah. And like maybe for you, Tempo as a whole, they're like the listeners probably are going to know, but it's like
long socks with little, a little stripe down the middle kind of thing. And you always wear them high up. Because,
And who was it like LeBron? It was something that got popular. Like were they basketball socks?
Is that
what they started?
I think they were. But
I don't know. But it's interesting. And you go through like pop culture of like Letterman jackets or whatever the poodle skirts in the 50s and that shit. And 80s like blacked out, like crazy hair, you're wearing jean, which I mean I fucking love that. I would wear a Canadian tuxedo all day. But I don't know, it's just interesting to me that like as we evolve as consumers in like the world and in America, it's like we kind of have that ebb and flow to fit in, to feel like that way. And I think in a lot of ways in life, it's like that's kind of just what we're trying to do is to fit in, to be comfortable. And some of us stand out and we're like creators and, but at the end of the day, it's like you don't want to, get kicked out of the crowd or get pushed out of the herd and, die. I don't know, I'm making like a lamb analogy of, a sad lamb that gets kicked out of the herd and like dies on the cliff.
Dress code. It's like you go, you work at a finance something and you got to wear a tucked in shirt and like slacks and, nice shoes and stuff like that. And then, you work on the other side of maybe spectrum the right word. You're driving a truck and making food deliveries and stuff. You got to wear some workwear, because you're not going to wear like a collared shirt when you're lifting a bunch of stuff.
Get shit on
So, functionality is another part of the conversation as well.
No question that utility like plays a part there.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, but it's interesting too because I think that like from what you were saying, there's this like weird connotation that you have to stand out to be into clothes. You know what I mean? Like if I'm a fashion person, like I feel like oftentimes I hate this. I hate when someone asks me like what I do for a living and they're clearly not like fashion people. And I'm like, oh, I work in like fashion. I always try to like downplay it as much as possible because I'm like, I don't want you to think that it's like some, you know, and they're immediately like, oh, this isn't like what I always do. So I like clothes. And you're like, chill.
It's like,
dude.
yeah,
Like,
we don't have to
I
do
never
this
thought
whole,
about it before. I don't think about it now. And I think that like, then sometimes even like if I'm being honest, like there's sometimes where I'm like, you know, if I'm just wearing like normal, like nothing I'm wearing is wild right now. It's all like I can tell you about the brands and the way it's made or the materials it used or why I chose, you know, like this stuff. But like it's a black jacket and a black sweater vest. You know what I mean? Like it's not. It's not. That's nothing,
all it is
that
in
no
its
one's gonna be
essence.
like fashionable necessarily. You know what I mean? Because I think that fashionable is loud, crazy shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like to a lot of people. And I just don't. I think that menswear has had like its own self actualization happening where it's like, oh, we don't have to do like crazy stuff. You know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? For it to be fashion.
Yeah.
And I think women's is so far past that at this point that I don't think that it even ever thought of itself that way. Maybe a long time ago, but not now, certainly.
Huh.
So that's why I really appreciate, you know, women's wear specifically, because it just doesn't feel like it needs to like prove itself as much for some reason. And I feel like that guys are always like, oh, you're not wearing like wild shoes and, you know, crazy pants and like, you know what I mean? Like, and look, there's plenty of guys that dress that way and it looks cool on them, you know, but that's never going to be my thing. But that doesn't mean that I don't think that I'm fashionable or don't think I'm interested in fashion or whatever. It's like, it doesn't need to be like this like outward display of interests personally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that like fashion sort of menswear specifically is sort of like dealing with that right now of like, oh, we don't have to wear a bunch of crazy patterns and loud stuff and, you know, crazy sneakers and not everything needs to be buck wild. Not everything needs to be patchwork. Not everything, you know what I mean? Like, certainly places for all those things. And there's plenty of people that are going to put all that shit together and it'll make sense. But overall, I still think that like, you know, I like the subtlety and stuff like that, but no one's ever going to, you know, point at that and say fashion, which is just, you kind of just have to be okay with, I think, you know, and I don't want that either. Like, I don't have a strong desire to like talk about my clothes outside of here and like through the business or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, because I don't think that like, I don't know. I think I think it also weirdly bothers people to a certain degree. I think like either like, I think there's a lot of things that could play into that. One could just be like, I'm not happy with myself in some way, so I don't really want to spend the money on the clothes that aren't going to, you know what I mean? Like maybe it's like I'm just not happy with where I'm at with my body or, you know, I just don't think I look good in clothes or I don't have the bravery to wear this stuff. Or I don't have the knowledge and I don't know where to begin. I think there's like all those kind of things. And that's why I don't like saying I'm in fashion.
Yeah.
Because there's this immediate assumption that I'm judging you because you're not doing it.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, that's not the case. And I also don't think that anyone that's like not interested should just, again, put a bunch of shit on because I think like the worst dressing that can happen is the putting of a lot of shit on. I really don't like that. I just don't think that there's any effort. And then they're like, no, I'm fashionable because look, name brand.
Yeah.
Okay, that doesn't mean anything though, dude. Anyone can do that. Well, not anyone. Yeah, a person of privilege can do it. So good for you. You put a bunch of shit on.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. So I hate that like there's just like this weird, you know, heavy thing every time I say I work in clothes.
It is in its essence kind of like a pretentious thing at times, you know?
Yeah. Because I think when people think of fashion, they think of like the big name brand shit. They think of like Gucci shit and Louis
stuff
Vuitton.
I can't have.
They don't think of it having like a much bigger spectrum than that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it can be like a frustrating thing to have that conversation, you know, like of being like, I don't want you to think something of me because I say this, you know. In the same way that like, because the truth is I don't care. I mean, like not everyone is going to be interested in the same stuff I am. I can give you all the laundry list of reasons why I think you should buy some of the brands as opposed to like things that you're buying just because like maybe it's ethical reasons, maybe it's just supporting local, supporting artists, supporting like small business, things like that. That maybe you can very easily resonate with, as opposed to me being like, it's because this designer dyes it in a certain, you know, because if you're already not even like down the road, it's not going to get you into Sumi ink from there. You know, so it's a weird world to live in. You know what I mean? Where it's like I'm very much obsessed with it, but I also outside of like the people that I surround myself with through work, I don't really talk about it that much or really even want to be honest with you. Yeah.
No, that's interesting. I don't know. I think like maybe at a core and go into your original question about fashion, I feel like what I love about what we do here is we try to help and curate I mean, this is more you, Timbo, and the buying team, and like the greater vision of this play, and you, Al, too.
Listen, every single day that we're open and we get bigger, it's less and less just me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I think there was a time when, of course,
was.
you know, because
Yeah.
there wasn't that many people. But like the buying team is not just me. It's, you know, I do the heavy lifting with buying stuff as far as like dealing with the back and forth
Yeah.
and a lot of the relationships
Logistics and
were
shit, yeah.
long-term ones and things like that. But it was always me and Bob doing it together. And now Chase is involved with that too, because he has a really good line of connection with our customer, and that their feedback is important to me too. This isn't, I think, a major mistake a lot of businesses make of like, this is my vision. It's like, this is all of our vision, dude. And like, and the longer we're open, the more Canoe Club is not me. It's everybody. You know, it's a broken strand of DNA at this point. You know, so and I don't want it. Doesn't need to just be. Why would again? Same thing with eclecticism. Why would anyone want one person's vision? It's not one person's vision. You know what I mean? I like to keep it moving in the right direction. You know what I mean? Because I have like long-term goals for the business and things like that. But I don't like this idea that like. Sorry, go ahead with what you're saying. I just that's always a thing where I'm like, I don't want to take credit for all that myself. Number one.
No.
Yeah.
Well, no, I thought that was really beautifully said, Timbo. Well, I think it's like, and maybe this is what I've gained from being a consumer first of Canoe Club, is finding something that like makes me feel better and the clothes that I wear, but makes me feel more confident in myself, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And I think like wearing all the like the laundry list stuff you're saying, like wearing these jeans that are like a little bit nicer than Levi's. I mean, they're a lot nicer than Levi's now, but you know, like stuff that kind of you just makes you feel better. And it's like the guys that are like, oh, like, you know, we're showing them the Taiga Takahashi like mud dye videos. And it's like, if that person that buys that beautiful Taiga jacket and is like, I know what this is, that I think subliminally goes into your mind. You're like, I'm wearing this, like I feel like hot shit.
Yeah.
And that comes across to people, you know, and I think that's a good thing, is like being comfortable in your own skin, I think, is what I like out of fashion. You know,
I think you've touched on something that's important to me, and that is like that. I really don't care where you're coming in at this from. I just want to hopefully through our business inspire people to be really passionate about the choices that they're making, that they have to make anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but you can make ones that make you feel better about yourself.
Yeah.
You can make, and better about yourself is such a wide range. It can mean like, this fits me perfect. I look good in it. I look whatever I want to look, strong, skinny, buff, whatever the deal. I know strong and buff are the same thing, but you know what I'm saying? Like whatever it is you want to feel, like you can get that. There's also a feeling of like belonging to a community that like, through everything that we do, like you can belong to this bigger community of like people who care about this stuff, and that's awesome. And you can keep learning from it and growing from it, and that's great. You can also like feel like, in not a negative way, feel like, man, I fucking got this shit on. Like they don't know. That makes me feel good. It makes me feel smart, and that's okay. I think that's good. You know what I mean? Like why would anyone not want to feel smart or like that they know better, or you know what I mean? And as long as you're not coming at it from like some ugly place of being like, I'm better than you. Yeah. If it can just be like, now I can tell you, if you say, oh, I like that jacket, like, let me tell you something about this. You know what I mean? And that's fun because it's, just sharing passion about art, in my opinion. It's no different than any of that same shit. It's like, I hope that like, I just think that because fashion had throughout the years been such an ugly thing, that I'm hoping that Canoe Club can, even if we shift the landscape by 1%, that's good enough for me. I feel like I've done my business, and what I wanted to prove doing what I did was just that, like, I don't think it needs to be that any longer, And that's why I go to bat for like Virgil and stuff so hard. It has nothing to do with his designs. I don't even think about it. I don't think about that. I think about the overarching thing of like, this is for everybody. Fuck this stupid industry that decided that it wasn't for everybody. It is for everybody. And like, yes, the stuff is expensive. It is. I mean, and some of it's just a function of it has to be. It costs a lot of money to use certain materials and do certain things the right way, and that just is what it is, And there's other times when it's higher than that, and I can get that the same way that like, not to keep going back to the same thing, but like a painting from a small artist versus a Picasso are two different things, and the part of it has to do with name brand and cultural impact and limited availability and wide interest, and like some of those things just are a function of that. But the other part is like, it just costs what it costs. We're not making these markups. I don't know if anyone thinks they're not fucking high. You know what I mean? Like, this is why a lot of retail businesses close, because it's a really difficult business, and I really hate this idea that like, that I have to feel bad, like not that I have to feel bad, but like that sharing that would even lead to that connotation. And I think that fashion really lost itself somewhere of, especially for all the good inclusionary things it has done throughout the years, it's done just as many exclusionary things that suck. You know what I mean?
Oh,
and I
totally.
think that it's got some ground to make up. And I'm hoping that, you know, through a lot of things that have happened in the past 10 years, and hopefully some things that we're doing, I hope, and making an impact, that changes. You know, it should all be about acceptance, because the reality is it's a bunch of dorks. You know what I mean? It's a bunch of guys and gals that like fucking clothes, and that's all it has to be. Like it's such a nice thing to see in the Discord that like there is different genders and it doesn't matter. It's all just be like, man, the fucking clothes go hard, man. Like, and that's like indistinguishable. Like that's to me, that's the equalizer, man. Cool outfits are cool outfits. It doesn't that breaks whatever, you know. And I just hope that there's more and more of that in fashion, as opposed to us going down any route of like, this is a museum. You are not to touch. You don't understand. You're not. This is not for you. If you know what I mean. And that's so stupid. Even if you can't afford it, it shouldn't be not for you. Yeah. Art's for everybody. You know what I mean, to enjoy. So regardless of,
Everybody
I don't
can
need
look at
to
it kind of thing.
I don't need to buy things to, you know, enjoy them or respect them as, you know, what they are. You know, so hopefully we're doing a little bit of business there. Hopefully everyone's doing a little bit of business in that world. I do think it's so much better than it used to be as far as that goes. But it still has a lot of work to do, no question.
Yeah. I mean, the steps that it's taken towards the future is still an amazing thing. But, you know, you can't have one thing without the other. You know, you have your classics and, you know, a little bit of pretentiousness, but you also have, you know, the Virgil mindset of that it's for everybody. And if you don't have one or the other, the culture kind of dies. You know, and I think it's kind of cool to be a part of, you know,
new injected to this stuff as possible. And I think that causes change, which scares people at the top who don't want it to change. You know what I mean? But you need it all. You need all of that to like work together. You know what I mean? And then it creates this really interesting thing that's like this ever evolving thing. But right now, just the way things are, with the way like how confusing the general art world has gotten. I mean, we saw that happen with like NFTs and digital art and all these different things. And what's the difference between an artist and a graphic designer, and what, you know what I mean? Like all these things that are happening that's in such a flux space. And because of, I think, the general world and economy and stuff like that, people aren't buying. I mean, art is in a bad place right now, especially there's not a lot of buyers and there's a lot of makers still. Yeah. I think that fashion is a place where people have actually gone to appreciate like culture and art in a new way, because it's like it's closer to that than it's ever been. Like even like you know, fast fashion brands are basically knocking off small designers and, you know, stuff like that, which is no good. I'm just laying that out there. That's no good. But at least like the taste level grows faster. And I think that like everyone's taste level being more elevated is only going to do better for what could possibly be appreciated and what people want to express like more fully. Yeah. So that's really cool, because I don't see any difference between the way Capital is trying to express themselves and the way Aura-Lee is trying to express themselves. Like it's obviously two different styles, but it's expression nonetheless. So it's interesting that like people are getting to like interact with like art at that level, when maybe you know, traditional art is a little in flux, and where do you even go to see it? You know, and it's a little it's a complicated, it's different than it used to be. So I think it's actually been kind of this interesting equalizer of you know, appreciating things.
I totally agree.
Yeah. It's why I think it's important. I don't know what it means to the bigger landscape or anything like that, but it's why I think it's important. Just because it's like cool that everyone kind of understands, which is also nice. Like for every time that you get in a weird conversation, or I just don't like, and it's really, I just don't want anyone to feel like I'm judging them or whatever, because I really am not. But the other thing is, for as many times people get very excited about that because everyone can relate to it. If someone says like, I'm in X tech or X finance or, you know, very specific engineering or whatever, I'm like, cool. But I'm like, I have no idea what that is. You know what I mean? Like everyone knows clothes, you know, at the
it's
lowest
understood.
level or the highest level. Yeah, we all get it. It's like when people say they work in food, I'm like, oh yeah, let's talk. You know, I can, wherever you're
Everybody
at,
can
I
talk
can
about,
get on board, you know, or I can participate, because everyone has to eat, everyone has to get dressed.
Yeah.
You got to do these
Yeah,
things,
it's just
you know?
a very understood medium, as opposed to, you know, just, you know, super highly expensive art, stuff like that. You know, you know,
where it feels like it's only for one person.
Yeah.
But that's not the one the difference that I would like us to get to is that people don't have the same issue with with art. You know what I mean? They're happy to go, oh, I can't afford that, but
Yeah.
look how
Look how
beautiful that
awesome it is.
I wish more people felt that way about clothes. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And look, clothes is much more tied to capitalism and commerce. It just is it's a much faster interaction. And you have to, hopefully in the same way that if you buy a painting, that's going to be with you and in your home, and you're going to live with that thing for a long time. You know, but it's a one of one. You know what I mean? How many one of one pieces do we in this room own? And I think if anybody's going to own a little bit of it, it might be this group. But it's rare. So that's such a further away thing than what you could interact with in fashion. Yeah. So it's cool in that way, but for some reason they don't view it the same way. Like that can be as much money as it needs to be, but clothes at a certain point, you go, I could never understand that.
I would almost go to submit that clothing might be a more understood medium of art than, Picasso paintings, because I feel like if you look at a Picasso, it's like, this is a certain type of art. He used this kind of paint. Like, I feel like that stuff is more inaccessible just because of its long-standing price point and stuff like that. But, everybody has to wear clothes. Not everybody has to buy art. Everybody needs to eat. Not everybody needs to,
Everyone has interacted with clothes. Not everyone has interacted with painting in any way. It all is the same stuff in my mind because it's all coming
just
from
a different
the same
medium,
same kind of influences, same kind of materials, same kind. It can only change so much. It's the same with that kind of art. But everyone's had some interaction with clothes. Like maybe you've had a job and you've had a chore coat because that's what you got issued, or you know what I mean. And then you can be like, well, now I understand that's a chore coat. That's just done with different. You know what I mean? Yeah. You can somehow there's a piece of your brain that has some knowledge filled with it already that allows you to understand.
Understand and talk about it, kind of thing.
Everyone has their own stuff, and the important thing is it's extraordinarily subjective and based on your own personal tastes and where you grew up and what you grew up around and what you got introduced to. The exact same thing. Yeah. So it's like I think food's probably the closest where it's just you've got to deal with it. You've got to reckon with it in some way, and you can have different interest levels, but it's all the same thing at the end of the day.
Yeah. And capitalism is tied into all of it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, it just is. Yeah. It's just complete. I mean, and it's the same for art. It's just a different thing. It's just understood in a different way. So.
No, totally.
Yeah. I don't know where we were going with all this. And we didn't go to any topic, but
we're getting deep into the.
Let's see. We had some topic. Well, I've got a question for you because I think about this because this isn't a lighter fare. Yeah. I think about this because I dress my daughter in the mornings. Yeah. And if I watch her dress herself, the order in which she does it is never what I would think. But then I was talking about it with Abby, my wife, and I was like, well, wait, what do you do? And I was like, I don't know if there's a universal way to do it or a best way. Yeah. And this seems dumb to argue about, but it's been spinning on it a lot lately.
Yeah.
And also deciding what do you individually choose first? If you're choosing an outfit, what's the first thing you choose? Do you go off of one thing or?
Yeah. Do you want to go first? I have something.
So what I want to know is I want to know two things. Yeah. One, what do you choose first when you're putting together an outfit? And then two, or most of the time choose.
Yeah.
And then, because, sometimes you get a new pair of socks and that'll change but that maybe is not.
Yeah.
And two, in what order do you go in to put clothes on?
Yeah. I would say it's situational. If
both?
I would say, okay, so if I'm ever putting on a suit or something like that, I was told that you're always supposed to do your socks first. I don't know why. I think it's because
underwear?
No, you do your underwear first. Underwear first.
I was like, that's twisted.
That's great. But you put on socks first because when you put on your slacks, you don't want to stretch over your slacks to put on your socks, so you do the socks first.
Yeah.
If it's a suit.
I'm all when it comes to suit, let's call this a separate thing because that's not my general.
That's not my typical.
That means I go shower and then I put socks and underwear on for a little bit of time before I put the suit
because
on.
you got to dry off a little bit.
I need to feel like once I put the suit on, we're in business mode. Now. You know what I mean?
No more fussing kind of thing. Yeah, you put on your cologne, you do your deodorant, brush your teeth.
That's a different thing.
That's a different thing. If you were talking every single day.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I also got to ask this question now. When do you put cologne on? Do you do it prior to putting on clothes or do you want it on the clothes?
Prior to putting, it depends on how fast I need to get out of the house. If I have all the time in the world, like I'm getting ready for a date or, I'm actually dressing up, it's right after my shower. Or after I put on my underwear after the shower. Because I was told that you take a hot shower, your pores are open.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
your body is ready to accept the smell kind
Yeah.
of thing. But I would also agree, like, if you want to do a little spritz after you put on all your clothes, so you get it on your clothes and stuff, that is also acceptable.
I think that's the right answer, to be clear, but I like it on my clothes.
Yeah.
Now, just to be fair, I almost ruined an Aura Lee jacket that was very expensive by spraying myself
spraying
with
it
cologne,
on.
and I'd never seen it on the clothes, and I was like, oh, there it is. It was in Japan while I was dying, and I did it, and I was like, end me now. I'm going to ruin that jacket too, and I don't want to be alive. But yeah, I do like it on the clothes because I like when I put on a jacket and I'm like, this smells nice. I don't even know what scent it is. It's sort of accumulated a few different ones I wear, and now it's like got its own personality. So I don't know. I kind of like that at the same time. But I do agree that I think it's wrong. I don't think that's the right thing to do or anything because it's supposed to interact with your chemistry. I still get a wrist and a thing, and then I hit full.
I'll do wrists, I'll rub it together, put it on my neck, and then if I have clothes on, I'll just do one spritz in the air, and then I'll walk through it, and then that's it. Because I don't want it to be
a little
too strong. Like,
Yeah. Little swatch. Halo.
Okay. So I added that in. Sorry. Go back to
So
that.
if I'm on a regular day, it'll be shower, underwear, and it'll always be pants. Because I feel like pants is what ties together your silhouette. It's what ties together your top.
Now here we're on the same page so far, Alec. Because and this is a stupid reason, but I started like having to think about this. So I was thinking like, oh, there's got to be a reason why I'm doing this, but I've never thought about it. I'm just doing it.
Yeah.
I agree. Like when I get out of the shower, because it's like I want to be able to navigate around the house, but I can't just be nude. And I keep all the windows open and stuff, so I especially can't do this. So I have to go do underwear, and then I'll usually I'm 90% of the time wear beat up jeans, and I have a barrage of them, and I can fix those in wherever I want them.
Yeah.
But that's like part of my uniform for the most part. So I just put those two things on right away, but then nothing else is going on for a little while.
Yeah.
And I figured out what the reason was is because I really don't want the deodorant to touch my clothes in any way. You know what I mean? And it's a natural deodorant, so it takes a minute to dry. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want that to mess with I hate when you get like even just white t-shirts, which I know you got to swap out. I don't like when they've got, even if no one's going to see it, I don't want it to be even remotely discolored. So I'm already using a natural deodorant, which takes a minute. So I will be topless for a little while trying to get the dry. Because I want to be as dry as I can be before clothes go on. Because you guys won't know this, but there's nothing worse than putting on like clothes while you're still a little bit wet.
Oh,
but
it's horrible.
I have to like... I dress my kid. When they get out of the bath, you have to put pajamas on them. That is an insane... The clothes, like, don't go on the body when it's a little bit wet. It's insane. It's like they won't pull on, and you feel like you're yanking them around and stuff trying to get it on. It's the worst.
Yeah.
So I'm with you so far.
Yeah.
I'm with you so far.
After that, it's gotta just probably tops, Like, I'll put deodorant on. I actually don't think about the deodorant on my clothes or not.
Yeah,
I
it
kind of just
stresses me
whip
out.
it on, but it's always pants first, whether it's shorts or anything else, and then socks is the very last, along with the shoes.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I'm also like I'm not a sneakers guy. You know what I mean? So I have shoes that match with everything. I got a pair of black Visums, and I got a pair of One Stars that are also black as my beaters, and those are pretty much my shoes. That's not to say that I have a ton of other shoes, just like I have a ton of other clothes that I never wear. But it's always one of those two shoes. Yeah.
You do wear those, like those are your
Every day, daily drivers.
So I think I don't know. I think I actually go socks next. Then I go underwear, pants,
let your deodorant dry, then socks.
Because I want to make sure I don't wear any like loud colored socks or anything, but I don't like to have a sock that doesn't match the outfit on the off chance, because I feel like that's such an easy way to be like, oh, you kind of fudged up.
Yeah.
You didn't think this all
That's
the way
how you
through.
brick. Yeah.
So I do
Easiest way
that
to
one
brick.
knowing like, okay, I've already made the choice of what I want to wear on top, but then I do the sock next though, because that needs to go with whatever. And that sort of this is what's weird. The sock locks me in, because that means I'm stuck to a color scheme in my mind. You know, so I put the sock on and I'm like, well, even if I decide to change the top, I got to stay within this color parameter.
But you pretty much just wear white socks all the time, right?
No, I wear black,
got black on
white,
today.
beige, brown. It's all in the same.
Okay, so
it's all the same
have
world.
the
dude.
German
It's like,
Shepherd.
am I going like natural colors or am I going like black charcoal?
Yeah.
But it only has those two roads.
That's so
to take.
interesting.
But I will lock myself in that
Yeah.
way. So like what am I going on top? Because I feel like it kind of needs to the predominant
with
color
it.
kind of needs to vibe with that.
Yeah.
I'm not even like blasting sock all the time or anything. You know what I mean? It's just it's just a thing that I've started
Interesting.
doing and now it's in
Yeah.
there.
See, the pants lock me in, and that's the first step for me.
See, the pants don't lock me in
Yeah.
because pants are technically the only place that's breaking my German Shepherd colored palette.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
I
with
wear
the
blue
blue.
because I
Yeah.
can't give it up. I just like, and I
they
think
just look great with
that's
everything.
my old thing. Number
Yeah.
one, it's the easiest way where I can go fancy everywhere else, and I'm like, I still don't care because look, I have stupid jeans, old jeans on.
Yeah.
So it's like my middle finger thing that I
Yeah.
still have.
You
know?
I see
Interesting.
that. I see that.
So then, okay, after socks, what do you do then?
Then I go tops.
Then you go tops. Okay.
Then I pick the shoe, but I don't have that. I don't keep that many different shoes. I pretty much have
Yeah.
black shoes,
Yeah, you do.
I have, like,
and
a
you're a
couple-
flat shoe guy too.
flat shoes.
Yeah.
Flat shoes.
Although
always.
I really got to tell you guys, well, I might need to do something different because I've been having like this weird foot pain, and I can't attribute to anything else.
Huh.
And I have a pretty I'm pretty locked in on what I wear in the gym, and
Yeah.
I've tested a lot of different shoes. This is the one that works well for me, like with back stuff and all this. So I don't think it's that. You know what I mean? So I think it's the flat shoe all the time, maybe.
You might.
So I might need to. I might need to mix. I've been thinking about it.
get back to
I've
New
seen
Balances.
you do some New Balances.
I used to
time
like
here.
only wear V4 new 990s, like
Yeah,
exclusively. I
990s,
had like
yeah.
3 pairs in different levels, and I only wore those.
Yeah. Yeah.
For ages, I don't like to think about shoes too much. is
Me
the
neither.
thing.
Me neither.
It's never been like my biggest interest, even though it's like what I used to do. I think maybe just like the fatigue of it at the same time. Or
Yeah.
to be honest with you, I did fit modeling for them a lot, like a stress test things because I was sample size.
Yeah.
So I'd stress test those shoes forever. And I think because of it, like I would wear one shoe for long stretches.
Yeah.
To stress test it. So I started just doing that in like regular life where I get like 1 or 2 pairs of shoes and that's like all I'll really wear for a while. I might have 6 pairs of shoes in my closet, but I'm only wearing like 1 or 2 for like a 6-month period.
Yeah.
And then I'll switch it. I'm in a switch stage right now. I need to switch.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't
like
think
that for you.
I think I might need to leave the canvas world a little bit. And I think I want to go back to leather, but I also I can't go all the way from flat shoe because proportionally I get thrown off.
Yeah.
You know, because I don't have very long legs and I have a long torso, and I don't want to add volume to the wrong spots.
Yeah. I get that.
So I don't know.
Tennis shoes I feel like, are notorious for messing up the shape of your silhouette. You know?
They
you
make
can't
or
wear
break
chunky. Yeah.
is the problem. You know, it's such a make or break.
Yeah.
Or you have to just be so dedicated that you don't think about
Yeah.
it. Like it's just that's not even part of the rest of it.
That's
which I
probably
sort
why
of
I'm
support
so
too. scared.
scared to like jump out of my comfort zone. It's like Converse or flat skate shoe, you know, and that's it. Like I can't wear a Birk. I can't wear a tennis shoe. Like I don't know what it is.
No, you guys are funny.
And I have these really.
I do wear a lot of Birks. That's a different thing.
I have a chunky 550 that I try and incorporate. I'll put it on and I'm like, I'm just not comfortable in this, even though it looks good with the fit.
Yeah.
It's like I just don't want to wear it.
And that's a flat. To me, that's like
It
a
is,
flat
and it's
sneaker.
still flat. It's just chunkier. You know,
Yeah.
it's not as form fitting as
It's like
a 1 star.
like an Air Force One kind.
Yeah.
You know, it has that kind of.
I
same-
get where you're coming from because I think that like as I'm talking about the other personal style stuff, it's like shoes on the bottom are completely kid stuff. It's like I like Converse and I like Vans, and it's because I was into skateboarding and rock music or like grunge music.
Yeah.
So those were the most iconic 2 things from those things. So I pretty much just wear those because those locked me into that world. The jeans are kind of punk because it's old jeans. That's all we used to wear then. That's what I wear now. I like pretty tops, and then I like little hats like this because they feel like what a rich guy would wear. You know what I mean? Because that has a BMW and has a lake house.
Yeah.
So it's like these are the worlds that I'm not able to exit fully.
Yeah.
And it's like completely, I'm like held back by myself and my own assumptions about what certain genres of people wear.
Yeah.
So
I can see that.
I don't know how we got to get back
Yeah, Cole.
onto-
What do we?
Yeah.
What's our step
You
by
seem
step?
opposed. I'm pretty much with Alec, except for that the socks I've noticed weirdly lock me into the top.
Yeah.
And then the shoe goes last because it doesn't really matter. It's basically the same
No,
thing as
that's
everything
so-
else.
Yeah.
But you seemed broadly
Yeah.
maybe offended by what we were saying.
No, I'm
almost with Alec all the way.
I think I have a weird approach because I mean, I'll do the same thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Tops first, nothing else.
That's what I was gonna say. You Donald ducking.
Like if I want to just be like, what? Yeah, I mean, I'll Donald duck myself. I literally did it this morning. I was like, this is wrong. Like,
It feels bad.
No, and I was like, I need to put underwear.
It's like
on.
it's like in any situation where you've had shoes on with nothing else, and you're like, this is the most wrong a human could feel.
No, or yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think. Usually, since I'm a little Colorado boy, very, very into weather. I'm like an old person. Love weather. Love looking at it. Doing all the weird radar shit.
See, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow or a month from now or ever.
I know about tomorrow and
change
that's it. I know about tomorrow and that's it.
You've seen it now too, because I think people think I'm fucking around. I do not change.
No,
I
you
do
don't.
not have heavy outerwear. I do not have shoes that can support snow
that can
at all.
do it, yeah.
Me neither.
I just won't listen to it.
No, and you guys will see me with my muck
You've
boots,
got a
my
lot.
bogs.
You've got a lot of stuff. You got accoutrement.
Yeah, I'm a big gear dude. But so usually I'll do weather, and it's like right now it's super nice. So I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna be heavy. I'm not gonna go crazy in the layers. No heavy jackets, right? Usually, how I will dress myself, I'll think about it in the shower, and I usually will go by a piece. And whether that's a pair of pants, like if I'm like right now I'm wearing some Orslo fatigues, I'm like, I really want to wear that. How can I build an outfit around that? Today it was this denim vest I'm wearing, and I was like, okay, how can I piece together?
So you're going
interesting.
like piece first.
You'll change. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'll kind of fix stuff, and maybe I'll like put it on, and I'm like, this is fucking weird. I'll put a different pair of pants on. Maybe I just won't wear the thing I want to wear, but usually I'll go kind of by that, and it'll usually be by the vibe of the weather of that day. And then especially with me, I have to
go. It's snowing today. I know I'm going to have to wear this heavy sweater.
Yeah.
Because that's going to keep me warm. Now I will build the rest of it around
it. Yeah.
I like that.
I think that's good.
I like that. I almost want to grow into that.
But I think for me, it's like a need of like, I've just, growing up here, it's like, I don't want to be fucking cold as shit. I also want to be breathable at the same time. I don't want to be like dressed up, and I have to walk here too, which is not a bad walk, but it's like, that's where I wear all my, wear my, snow muck boots and stuff. And
commuting changes it entirely, to be fair.
Exactly.
Because I will admit I used to pay a lot more attention to weather when I commuted because that was important.
But I think to me it's like I have way too many jackets and all that stuff. But today, and then it's like, obviously I'm like, oh, I have tons of white shirts. It's all your basics that you can always throw in and do that. But and then shoes, I'm different with you guys. I love my sneakers. I'm not a big sneaker head, but I just love comfort.
Yeah.
And I wore skate shoes and Vans for my whole life, and Converse, I finally realized, are too goddamn narrow for my feet, and I had to get out of that. I love Alice One Stars. Those are like my favorite Converse model.
Underrated model. Yeah.
And they're great skaters too, but to me, it's just like comfort. And I'm wearing V6s right now. I think the gray V6s are such a great way because it just kind of perfectly matches in with what you're wearing.
It's if you're only going to have one shoe, it technically goes with everything, and it's because it's become so iconic and like part of fashion at the same time that like you can't really go wrong.
Oh, totally. And I mean, I love my Solomons. I think Solomons are one of the most sexy looking. I love them because it's like I can go hike with Louis up on an enemy and be grippy as fuck.
I agree. I can't get him to work on me, but I love him.
and I've loved Solomons way before I worked here. I mean, that's all my hiking boots and trail running shoes. That's what I always went for. But yeah, I guess I'm just different than you guys, where I kind of go piece by piece. Like maybe I'll be like, I really want to wear our, logo Canoe Club, zip up hoodie, and I'm like, that's fucking easy to put something together. It's like the easiest thing in the the game.
Yeah.
And then also just working here, where I'm shipping out shit. I don't want to be uncomfortable. I'm gonna be moving around. I'm on my feet all day, so it's like I can't be wearing like
You can't be
like
it's got to be movable.
Yeah, exactly. And also just getting like fucked up and dirty. And I wear a lot of workwear shit anyway. So it kind of just matches in with kind of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that's like, I would say like needing to do stuff around here is like half the reason I don't wear that many accessories.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Totally.
Because I also go to the gym, so I don't wear my watch because I don't know what to do with it, and I don't have a lock, so I don't put it on there, and then I forget,
like that.
and I don't want to leave it because it feels like something I would accidentally leave. Yeah, and Abby and I at some point, my wedding ring just like didn't fit right, or I'd like it was like hurting my finger, and so I stopped wearing it, and then I've just never found something to like really replace it. Abby kind of did, but she doesn't wear it half the time because hers was kind of the same. We bought them when we were like 20, like they were like cheap little rings. And so I don't really wear rings. Sometimes I have like one for my grandma and one for my grandpa, and sometimes I put them on. But I don't do it a lot because sometimes like there's one ring that I really like wearing that was my grandmother's. But if I am doing like moving boxes around, it
yeah.
like pinches me constantly, so it drives me crazy. I don't. I think I have a little. I have a little silver chain I wear, but I don't wear it because I go to the sauna most days, and it'll burn the sin out of you.
Yep.
If you know what I mean. So I don't wear it for that reason most of the time. So it's like half the time functionally I don't accessorize properly just because I'm like doing a lot of dumb shit. And that's the other thing. I bang jewelry around every time I wear it on like the racks.
On
and
the
stuff
racks, yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, these racks will fuck up a watch.
Yeah, half the time I wear a watch in here, I take it off because I'm like, as soon as I go out there, I'm gonna start.
That's
banging it
exactly what
against
I
stuff.
do. Yeah. And you know, I'll try and tie on a watch if I can, but it'll always come off if I'm working.
Yeah.
And I also don't want to get it jammed in like the door.
So you're like typing and then it like hurts
and then
things. So you know, it's like it's a thing. You know.
Yeah.
I need a beater is the thing. I need I need something I love that's like I don't care what happens. It can be totally destroyed and it's fine.
You guys both need a beater.
I need a beater.
Yeah, I need a beater.
I need like an old Cartier. I'm waiting to go back to Paris. They've got the good ones.
Oh, like a tank or something?
Yeah, I want like an old tank.
Like
I
a
want
Santos or something?
Yeah.
Tanks
Oh,
are
that'd be
so
nice.
cool.
Yeah. I want like a dress watch that's like destroyed already. You know what I mean? I don't need it to be anything fancy.
Fucked up,
Yeah, and I want it to be kind of weird looking. I want one of those like you know those like must-bees that go like they're in like red and stuff.
dude, those are
I think those are cool.
Yeah.
Maybe something like that next time I go to Paris. But I don't know. But the thing is, I probably still will forget a lot because I just am worried about jamming. I'm like an idiot. Like I wear stuff like a dog.
Yeah,
I like run into things constantly.
You guys familiar with Jaeger, the watch brand?
Oh, yeah.
They make those reversos.
Yeah, those
so you
things
can
are
flip it, but it doesn't need to be a two-sided watch. It can just be like a metal because when they were playing polo, you can scratch it up and stuff like that.
That's smart. That's probably what I need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can cover it. It's kind of cool.
No, I love that's like one of my favorite square face watches. Definitely.
Super pretty.
Cool.
Oh, there's in a tank too. I mean, those two are like
classics.
I think the two classics.
Yeah.
You know, that.
Let me ask you guys something. If you're trying something on to wear for the day, how often will you switch out of it because you don't like it? Try it on. Look at it in the mirror.
Every single Saturday, when I was working here or when I'm at home, I will try 1,000 outfits on. It's like Saturday. I have a Saturday curse. I think I say it in my head every single time I try it. Everything I put on in a Saturday morning will get changed out for something else. I'll second guess myself 1,000 times, even if I'm doing nothing. I don't know what it is about Saturdays, but I'm dicked up on Saturdays.
Oh, I thought you meant it as like it's your test day to try on.
No. Yeah. I just like for some reason cannot.
what I took it as
I don't know what it is. But other than that. I don't know because the problem is the way we're getting dressed. There's a lot of room for fucking up.
Yeah,
I think we got to probably move to his model.
Yeah,
and
that's what I'm saying. Like,
less problems, but I'm probably doing it frequently. You know, I don't even have that many things at this point. It's just like, you know, everything kind of matches together. But I don't know. I'll still mess around too much.
Yeah. Usually for me, Sophie is my last eyes, and I'll run it with her. And usually I'll always, because she's really helped me when I was in my crazy color. She's like, you can't throw like a fucking pair of pink shorts with like a purple top. Like, what the fuck are you doing? I mean, are you looking like, you know, a fucking weird sitcom character from like the 90s or some shit? Yeah. And I'll usually run it through her. And I always listen to her because she'll give me a couple, you know, pointers, be like, hey, I think you should do this. I think you should change that out. And, you know. And then lately I've just been kind of like, oh, I actually really think I look good. And I'll kind of roll with it. Yeah. And then some days I'll be like, you know what? I think she was right. Some days I'm like, no, I know I was right. So to me, she's kind of nice to have that like support.
You got to bounce.
But no, I'll switch some stuff up once in a while.
Yeah.
It's usually tops. It's always like outer, you know, what jacket I'm wearing.
Yeah.
Mine's shoes and pants, weirdly. I think it's probably because of the way we're getting dressed.
Yeah.
But that'll be like, fuck, I want to wear this jacket, and that's not working with the rest
not working
that I've
with
already
the pants.
put on.
Yeah, and you have to sub out everything because
and then you sit there for like 20 minutes going, I don't want to take these fucking shoes off.
Like, you know, I'll start with the pants and then I'll throw on the top, and I was like, this top doesn't look good, and I'll have to sub out everything, and it gets in the way. And
I think Alec and I might be getting dressed wrong.
yeah, I think,
to be fair,
I think we are. Yeah,
this is why I started spinning out because we were joking around. Now the way Gia got dressed was truly insanity. Where she went tops first, and then like socks.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh man, you did this in the craziest order you could have put this.
I love it. Though. I love it.
But and then I was thinking about how I do it, and I'm like, I don't know if mine's better. Mine's just equally weird.
Yeah.
Like from a coverage standpoint, it's a little bit better, but from a logical standpoint, it's not great. So
I think it's not unacceptable to, you know, anybody that actually does this, but I think everything is okay except for Donald ducking.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like
You can't-
top first, no
tops
underwear.
First is crazy.
Like, it's
Cole.
crazy.
That's the
to
only
me.
part of yours that's a little nuts.
Well, no, I don't do that all the time. It was just this morning specifically, and I like looked at myself in like a full length mirror, and I was like, "This is just wrong."
Yeah.
Every way.
I think
this
that
is
like
not
before
right.
you even look in the mirror, it feels wrong.
Cole sent me this meme over the weekend where it was like, what do you wear when you go to bed? And it's like, is it just
Yeah, it's like a
you know,
chart,
is it-
kind of.
Yeah, it's a little chart. There's
Oh.
like 10 options. It's
Yeah.
like shirt, sweats, or like just shirt.
Yeah.
Nothing underneath, or like
Just
you
underwear.
know, just underwear. You know, nothing else.
Completely
kind of thing.
naked, you
yeah.
know.
And the guy that was in that meme, he was like, the only thing that is unacceptable is number 4, and number 4 was a shirt and nothing else.
Nothing else.
Yeah.
That is nuts. Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? What are you covering up the top for at that point?
So,
I think that it's just boxer briefs and t-shirt for
yeah.
me.
Uh-huh.
That's
For
I
sleeping?
feel like it's been that way
Yeah.
extensively always.
Oh, I just go full naked.
Yeah.
You're full nude?
Yep, yeah, that's the way I go.
Yeah.
It's a little hard. I mean, if I'm like,
You're a little twisted.
I'm a little weird to be
Yeah.
totally. I mean, I feel like people get that, but to me, it's just like that's how I came in this world. That's how I'm gonna go in this world. Like it
Let's
feels
go.
right.
You assume you're gonna
I-
die
Back to
every night you go to bed.
basics. Back to basics.
I would
yeah.
love to die in my sleep if I
Yeah.
whenever
Well,
I die.
I guess
but,
you're gonna choose one.
Yeah, I mean, I to me it just feels comfortable, and then I wash my sheets a lot. We do European style, you know, just duvet.
Yeah.
Fitted
That's
sheet.
what I like. I didn't know there was a
It's-
name for it. I thought I was just weird.
No, European style.
You're talking about you don't have the
No
the
top
thin
sheet.
sheet.
Yeah, we don't have the
I don't
three.
do
I
that.
don't
Yeah.
like the thin sheet, to be clear.
always kick
Abby
it off.
seems to be into it. I know
She
that
likes
there's
it.
like a cleanliness element of you don't have to wash the duvet as
Yeah.
much and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And listen, there's no more awful chore than removing the duvet cover
Oh.
from a
Oh,
duvet.
it
there's
fucking
nothing.
sucks ass, yeah.
Yeah, that's
You gotta
that's one of the
retie it and
lowest
then
of the
undo the
lows.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think that like I would live like prison if it was my own. If I'm on my own devices, like it
domain,
would
yeah.
be.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you, I like when the fitted sheet's not even on there. I don't want there to be anything. I just want it to be bed and then one thing on top.
Just
Yeah.
like naked
Just like one.
mattress.
Honestly, it's easier to fold a blanket. I would rather it be mattress and blanket, and then like one pillow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
No, I think
that's
it's
my
so
dream
interesting.
world.
Yeah.
No, I mean, and everyone has their own way. I want to do the true like European way, where it's like each person, 2 people are sleeping in a king bed or something. You have your own duvet. That's like a twin size.
Yeah,
So then it's like you're not
That makes
fighting
more
over
sense.
duvet. And I think to me that's a great.
cool.
Yeah, so that maybe is
Wow.
something we'll eventually. But you know, we have like nice down stuff.
I was
and
gonna
it's
say,
like,
how
it's
do you
hard
make
to-
it look nice on the bed
Yeah,
though?
that's
If
I
you've
have
got
no
2.
fucking clue.
Just
no fucking
Twin
idea.
duvet, 2 twin
Put 'em on
duvets,
top?
and then a king duvet. Yeah.
You fold it up and then you have to unfold it every night. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
annoying to be. I don't know, but
If anyone's got any insight, I like this idea, but I'm worried about aesthetically. It seems tough to pull off. But I guess who's looking at your bed? Who
Or
the
you-
Swedes probably
yeah,
figured it
I
out.
mean,
I'll just look at pictures of
You
that.
can be that guy in Perfect Days. You know, just kind of sleeps on like a thin mattress and then
Oh, that's
folds up his-
that's the move.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
that-
could get very into that. Other than like again, where do you put it? I mean, I guess Japanese houses are designed to accommodate these kinds of
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, that is
but
true.
like I just don't know where I would put it if I folded it up.
Yeah,
But I'm
yeah.
totally on board. I like being close to the ground.
Oh yeah.
Like basically I've told Abby 100 times if I could just have like a dog bed, that I like that vibe.
Yeah, I like the floor mattress vibe too. Yeah, and it's
I
either
just got so
better,
associated
too.
with
Yeah. like I'm a Mountain Dew gamer kind
Yeah,
of thing,
yeah,
or
yeah.
it's like you
got-
know I have a Thuma or something like
Yeah,
that.
so it's trouble with the assumptions that you're
Yeah.
who you are with that look. But I do like being that low for sure.
Yeah, I like it too.
Abby doesn't like being low. She
I
likes being
like
up high.
napping
I don't-
on the carpet. Yeah, I'll take a nap on
If
the
I watch
carpet.
movies, I watch them on the ground. Baby.
Yeah,
I'm on the ground a lot. I don't even love the sofa. I could live in a world with no sofa if there was a thing to lean your back up against.
Dude, that's how you live to 120.
Just always on the
Just-
ground.
yeah, just
Stay
literally
low to the ground.
Don't have any lazy boy furniture. Just like getting
I
up all
like
the time. I mean,
like open space, and I'm just as good. I don't. If there was like a big open area where I could sit just on the ground to like do something, I would absolutely always choose that over
Yeah.
sitting on furniture.
yeah. No, that is a good. I mean, it has to be great for your back too. Because like with my dad, it's like he'll just lay on hardwood floor, and there's something that really like it helps just to feel that like hardness on you. I love it.
Do you think it's because it like trains your muscles to kind of they have to like do something where
think it
normally you
does.
wouldn't?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I see that.
I don't know.
All right.
You know.
How are we doing on time?
We should probably wrap it up.
Should wrap up.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. This was a lot of fun. I loved learning about all of our habits. That was great.
A lot of fun.
I'll think on this tonight. Yeah. Maybe I'll switch it up, you know.
No, this was a.
We'll have to report back.
This seemed.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right,
problem.
Alex stepping out. I don't know how we're gonna cut this around, but he's stepping out. He had a meeting that we forgot about. So
Yeah.
we pulled everyone in here last minute because of Chase being gone. Okay, so what do we need to talk about? What do we have? Let me open up the old computer here and see. Normally Chase does this part, so I was not ready, but I can be ready.
Well, like what's come? I'm trying to think
Okay.
what we did last.
Let's talk. I think we already talked about guest in residence. That's here. That's good to go. It's
Yeah, we did
online.
that.
Stuff's great. Selling great. Engineered garments, small shipment,
Mhm.
up online.
Yep.
Great stuff. Kind of some classics, but in great fabrics.
No, it's really cool
Howland.
stuff. Yeah, Howland's really
I don't know
cool.
if we talked about that last time.
I think we.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good spring selection. Nothing crazy, but like a nice spring selection of knitwear. That's really strong. No, I already didn't. Orslo arrived yesterday.
Yeah, huge Orslo.
Big Orslo.
A lot of pants.
A lot of pants. Some restock, some new, kind of somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Definitely some things that people have been asking for, like Super 100s and
Oh yeah.
101s and
Yeah, we got the black denim stone 101s.
Mhm.
Those are probably gonna fly. We have the new summer fatigues. I think that's
summer
like my
fatigues
favorite
are a big
thing we got
deal.
now.
So, and if anyone wants a quick difference between regular fatigues and summer fatigues, key difference is one, much lighter weight, which is nice. Number two, does not have the back pocket flap, which I actually really love because I usually cut mine off anyway, personally. So I think that's really nice about them. And it's maybe slightly roomier than the regular straight, I think.
They're more roomy. They're the same, like, I think, because I was wearing them this morning. They're roomier in the thigh region, which for me is like a godsend.
Yeah, they're a little breezier, I
but
think.
they're
overall.
not like baggy,
No.
They're still
straight.
Yeah.
So ton of stuff there. I don't think it's all up online just yet, but by the time this comes out, it should be, I would imagine. We'll be close, if not.
Yeah, it
so,
should be.
Big Prism Works delivery.
Yeah.
I don't think we talked about that last time.
Yeah. a lot
Again,
of
kind of
stuff.
similar to Orslo. Some classics back in stock. A bunch of new seasonal stuff over there. Some really nice chunky sweaters. Some cool like anorak type of
yeah.
things. And then Oxfords are back. Hoodies are back.
Yeah,
A bunch of the pants, back satin fatigues, stuff
Heritage
like that.
hunting jackets are back. We have those.
The balloon pants going really quick.
Yeah, they are going fast.
Maybe don't even have that many left, to be honest with you. But it is a really solid deal for that look and vibe. You're not going to find something that's going to fit like that. That's going to be better.
Yeah, I agree.
I think we have our legacy arriving today.
Okay,
At least it was on truck for delivery, so that should be here. So we got another little drop of our legacy.
Cool.
Small bit of Taiga Takahashi going online. I think it's just like one or two things. I think that's it. One thing I wanted to touch on that people have been asking about for a while is Niceness is arriving. Maybe not end of this week, beginning of next.
Yeah.
So our first delivery of that. We've talked about it a bit before. We'll go into more detail once we get closer to arriving, but I know a lot of people have been asking me, if you want to know what we're getting, they have their full collection online right now. You can't buy it, but because they don't sell straight, but they have a laundry list of everybody that carries the items. So if you want to get kind of a look, you can kind of tell what we'll be receiving on their website. We'll do a longer, I don't want to do it now. We'll do a longer episode of talking about it, but it's a brand we're really excited about.
Yeah,
so, and I know
it's gonna
people
be
have been,
so
we've gotten so many messages. So that's on its way. I feel like there was one other thing, but I don't know what it is. I think, did we get everything? There was one other big delivery, but we can't talk about it.
Yeah, that is true.
So
I don't want to cut any more shit out.
We don't want to cut any more shit out.
Chase already fucked that up last week.
So I think that's everything as it stands right now. There's still some more stuff that we're waiting on, but should be soon. So we'll cover that when it comes in. But solid stuff that's online right now. Plus everything should be close to being at final sale. So sale will be kind of wrapping up in the next couple weeks. So you can also check that out. You can check out YouTube. I think Chase and I they dropped the video we did about layering.
Yeah.
People were asking a bunch of questions about. So that's online, and I think they've got more stuff coming after that. I think they've got a little probably staff picks thing soon.
Oh
too.
yeah, we're getting that going.
Mhm.
And then probably some more like short content as well.
Yeah, some other stuff
some
too. Yep.
clips and stuff that are gonna be coming out.
Yep. I think that pretty much covers what's going on. Do the normal stuff. Patreon episode will be out soon. If you like the episodes and you haven't listened to those, check out Patreon. We already said YouTube and said the new arrivals. I think we covered it. Like I said, normally Chase does this, and so I don't remember all the things I'm supposed to say, but I think we got them. So thank you to you. Thank you to the now gone Alec for doing the pod today, filling in, and we'll be back to regular scheduled programming next week.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you, Timbo.
All right.
All right, thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye.